Do you want to retain what you read? Do you want to think deeply and sharpen your critical thinking? The answer is simple. Read physical books. Turn pages, not screens. Here's why it works. This slide explains everything. When you read a physical book, your brain processes spatial and tactile information simultaneously. That feeling of, I read that near the top of the right-hand page, that's not random. The physical thickness and layout of a book creates a cognitive map in your brain, functioning as a spatial memory anchor. Furthermore, the physical act of turning pages reinforces sequential memory. As you read, you unconsciously track how far you've progressed through the feel of the pages in your hands. This tactile feedback embeds the flow of a story or argument deep into your brain. Multiple research reviews have shown that print tends to have an advantage in reading comprehension. A 2023 meta-analysis reconfirmed that physical books significantly improve reading comprehension. And this is within your control. Start by picking up a physical book for just 10 to 20 minutes every day. Put your smartphone out of reach and turn off notifications. This is how you change your brain. Today, let me show you the science behind it. After finishing a book, have you ever searched for, where was that important passage? With a physical book, you found it immediately. With an e-book, it took much longer. This is not in your head. When navigating physical space, the brain has a built-in mechanism to store the surrounding environment as a, quote, cognitive map. It's the same mechanism that supports spatial memory, like knowing the post office is around that corner. When reading a physical book, this spatial memory system is likely activated as well. The location, that striking data, was in the lower third of the left-hand page, functions as a memory anchor. The weight of the book, the texture of the pages, the sense of how far you've read, all of these help your brain construct a memory map. What about scrolling through an e-book? The position on screen shifts constantly, and there's no physical sense of thickness. In a scroll-based UI, these spatial cues tend to weaken, and recalling content can take longer. Here's what researchers tell us. One of print's key advantages lies in its design. It naturally generates spatial cues. Efforts are underway to narrow this gap by fixing page position displays in ebooks or improving progress indicators. But right now, there's no question, print is the medium that more readily creates spatial cues. With that foundation in place, let's look at how the act of turning pages affects sequential memory. How do you keep track of how far you've read through a book? With an ebook, you check the percentage display. With a physical book, you feel it, the difference in weight between your right hand and your left. That difference creates a significant gap in memory. Turning a page is not a simple action. The feel of your fingers, the friction of the paper, the movement of your wrist. These activate the somatosensory cortex, imprinting a sequential sense of where you are in the story right now onto your brain. The lightness of your right hand after 100 pages. The weight of your left hand after 200 pages. These physical changes link to your sense of time passing. The result, your sequential memory of that plot development in chapter 5 inches is reinforced. Now, what about reading speed? Earlier studies suggested print was faster, but with the spread of high-resolution displays, reports now indicate that speed gap has narrowed. But speed is not what matters. Depth of comprehension is. A 2019 study published in Frontiers in Psychology demonstrates this clearly. Physical books tend to outperform screens in reading accuracy and comprehension. Scrolling on a screen weakens positional memory. The page keeps flowing, and the coordinate of where you read it is lost. A printed page stays still. That stillness creates memory stability. When reading a long article on your smartphone, how many times have you actually read it all the way through? Be honest. Here's an important finding researchers have uncovered. Multiple studies suggest that when reading on screens, the presence of notifications, links, and ads fragments attention, making comprehension and retention more likely to decline. This is not simply about getting distracted. There's a real possibility that your brain's processing mode itself changes. A 2015 OECD report points to this directly. In environments with links and scrolling, skimming behavior tends to increase. On screen, the brain shifts toward picking out keywords and scanning for conclusions. This is the exact opposite of critical thinking. Physical books, on the other hand, create a fundamentally different environment. No notifications arrive. No hyperlinks exist. No ads interrupt. This single-task environment unleashes the prefrontal cortex's critical thinking circuits. The prefrontal cortex handles deep logical reasoning, causal analysis, and evaluating an author's argument. When this region is fully activated, entering a flow state becomes far more likely. What is the flow state? It's a state of focus so deep that you lose track of time. It's the optimal experience proposed by psychologist Mihaly Csikszentmihalyi in 1990. Note, however, that flow also depends on the balance between task difficulty and your skill level, as well as individual differences. A distraction-free environment is a powerful factor in creating the conditions that make flow more accessible. Content absorbed in this state is processed deeply, and the probability of transfer to long-term memory increases significantly. Physical books naturally create the environment that promotes this deep processing. When reading an e-book at night, have you ever noticed your eyes feeling more alert just before you expected to feel sleepy? That's not a coincidence. There's a real possibility that your screen is tricking your brain into thinking it's daytime. Blue light, short wavelength light emitted by screens, affects the pineal gland. The pineal gland is the organ that controls secretion of melatonin, the sleep hormone. Research by Chang et al., published in PNAS in 2015, makes this clear. Nighttime light, especially its short wavelength blue components, can suppress melatonin and may impact sleep onset and sleep quality. The magnitude of this effect, however, varies depending on light intensity, duration of exposure, and device settings. Light-emitting displays and reflective e-ink differ in their light exposure characteristics, and enabling a warm-toned night mode can reduce the impact to some degree. But that's not the only issue. There's a concept called cognitive load. The brain's working memory has a limit on how much information it can process at once. When reading on a screen, your brain is doing more than just understanding content. It's calculating when to scroll. It's monitoring to avoid accidentally tapping a link. It's suppressing the impulse to respond when the notification bar lights up. All of these consume working memory. The cognitive resources available for comprehension and critical thinking are reduced by exactly that amount. Physical books are different. Turning a page is automatic. It consumes almost no cognitive resources. No blue light, no notifications, no scrolling calculations. Every resource your brain has is directed entirely toward deep comprehension of the text. This is the fundamental mechanism behind the difference in retention and understanding. Children's reading habits matter even more than adults. That's because children's brains are still developing, and what they read on shapes the formation of their neural circuits. Educational psychology research has revealed something significant. Children who read physical books tend to show an advantage in reading comprehension compared to those who read e-books. However, the size of that gap varies with age, the type of material, and the level of parental involvement. The print advantage tends to be especially pronounced with expository and informational texts. So what happens when you read aloud from a physical picture book? A 2019 study by Munzer et al., published in Pediatrics, reveals a key finding. Physical picture books tend to generate more verbal interaction between caregivers and children, pointing at illustrations and talking about them, asking, "What do you think happens next?" The child asking, "Why?" This two-way dialogue is the primary driver that simultaneously builds vocabulary and thinking skills. The experience of imagining a character's emotions forms the neural foundation for empathy toward real others. With digital devices, this experience is prone to interruption. A notification might arrive. A child's finger might open another app. The focus of the read-aloud is broken by the device itself. When giving a child a book, start with a physical one. Especially in an environment where caregivers can read together, dialogue with a physical picture book becomes a powerful foundation for language development. This is not an emotional argument. This is evidence supported by multiple studies. Here's where I need to be honest with you. Ebooks are not categorically inferior. The science is not that simple. Ebooks have clear advantages, Thousands of books fit into a single device. You can instantly search for any keyword. Wherever you are in the world, you can buy a new release and start reading it immediately. This convenience has dramatically increased access to reading. There are millions of people worldwide who started reading because of ebooks. Reading on an ebook is overwhelmingly better than not reading at all. But if your goal is to understand, retain, and build critical thinking, the science points to a clear choice. A large-scale meta-analysis by Altamura et al., published in the Review of Educational Research in 2023, makes this plain. Synthesizing research from 2000 to 2022, the study reconfirmed that physical books significantly improve reading comprehension. This pattern was especially clear among children and adults in the learning phase. There's another development worth noting. Education-leading countries, Sweden among them, are reassessing their over-reliance on digital tools and have begun allocating policy budgets to return to physical textbooks. This is an evidence-based course correction. So how should you use each format? For learning, exam preparation, and important professional books, read them in print. For commuting, travel, and light entertainment, ebooks are perfectly fine. For nighttime reading, however, choose a physical book or use an e-ink device with a warm color setting. This avoids the risk of nighttime screen light disrupting sleep and degrading your cognitive function the next day. Also, since 2024, AI-powered summarization and text-to-speech features have been widely implemented across major devices. These are convenient, but over-reliance on summaries reduces the work of understanding and structuring content yourself and may hinder deep learning. For serious learning, whether in print or digital, the process of writing out key points in your own words is something I strongly recommend preserving. Inconvenience has value. The effort of turning pages, the weight of a book, the inability to search. These are actually leaving deep memory traces in your brain. Let's bring today's key points together. Here's your summary for today. First, physical books leverage the brain's spatial memory system. The physical thickness and layout of a book builds a cognitive map in your brain, while tactile feedback reinforces sequential memory. Multiple research reviews, including a 2023 meta-analysis, have confirmed that physical books significantly improve reading comprehension. Second, physical books promote flow states and deep reading. Multiple studies indicate that digital environments with notifications and links tend to fragment attention and increase shallow reading behavior. Physical books create a single-task environment, freeing the prefrontal cortex's critical thinking circuits, and for nighttime reading, they protect sleep quality as well. Third, for children's reading habits, physical picture books carry a special importance. Their tendency to generate verbal dialogue with caregivers is a primary driver supporting the development of vocabulary and empathy. Education-leading countries, including Sweden, have begun making the evidence-based decision to return to physical textbooks. What book are you reading right now? If you're reading it as an e-book, what about switching even just that one title to print, if it's something you're reading to learn? Share your strategy in the comments. Thanks for investing in your health today. This channel breaks down the science of the human body and health, not through emotion, but through evidence. Just like the relationship between physical books and the brain, every episode digs into the scientific mechanisms hidden behind what you thought you already knew. Subscribe and keep learning the truth about your body and brain together. Hitting the like button helps get this evidence-based knowledge in front of more people. Until next time.